everyone, welcome back to A Momentum Money. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because every Friday we're breaking down real strategies to build wealth and create financial momentum. Today we're talking about real estate, and I know what you're thinking. Real estate? I don't have $100,000 for a down payment. This isn't for me. Stop right there. That's the biggest myth in investing. You don't need to be rich to start building wealth through real estate. You need to be strategic. Real estate has created more millionaires than pretty much any other asset class. It's one of the most reliable wealth building tools that exists. And yes, you can absolutely start with $10,000 or even less in some cases. Today, I'm breaking down 4 legitimate strategies to get into real estate investing with a modest amount of capital. These aren't get-rich-quick schemes. These are real methods that real people use to build real wealth. And strategy number 1 is REITs, which stands for Real Estate Investment Trusts. This is probably the easiest and most accessible way to invest in real estate starting today. Here's how REITs work. They're basically companies that own and operate income-producing real estate. Office buildings, apartment complexes, shopping centers, warehouses, hotels, all kinds of properties. You buy shares in the REIT just like you'd buy stock in any company, and you get a piece of the income those properties generate. The beautiful thing about REITs is you can start with literally any amount. You could invest $500, $1,000, $1,000, $10,000, whatever you have. You get instant diversification across multiple properties. You don't have to deal with tenants or maintenance or any of the headaches of being a landlord. And by law, REITs have to pay out 90% of their taxable income as dividends, which means you get regular cash flow. Now there are different types of REITs. Equity REITs own actual properties. Mortgage REITs invest in real estate debt. Some REITs focus on specific sectors like healthcare facilities or data centers or industrial properties. You can buy publicly traded REITs through any brokerage account, or you can invest in private REITs, though those usually have higher minimums. I personally have about 15% of my investment portfolio in REITs. I'm invested in a diversified REIT index fund that gives me exposure to hundreds of properties across different sectors. Over the last 5 years, it's averaged about 8% annual returns plus dividends. Not explosive growth, but solid, consistent wealth building. The downside of REITs, you don't have control. You're not picking the properties. You're not making management decisions. And the returns, while solid, are usually lower than what you could get with direct real estate ownership if you do it well. This strategy is perfect for you if you want real estate exposure without the work, if you're just starting out and want to learn how real estate investing works, or if you want passive income without being a landlord. Strategy number 2 is house hacking. This is hands down my favorite strategy for someone buying their first property because you're using other people's money to build equity. House hacking means you buy a property to live in, but you rent out part of it to cover most or all of your housing costs. The classic version is buying a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. You live in one unit and rent out the others. But you can also do this with a single-family home by renting out extra bedrooms. Here's why this is so powerful. You can buy a property with as little as 3.5% down with an FA loan. So on a $300,000 property, you're looking at around $10,000 down, plus closing costs. Way more accessible than the typical 20% down payment for investment properties. Your tenants are basically paying your mortgage. If you buy smart, their rent should cover most or all of your housing payment. So you're living for free or cheap while building equity in a property, and you're getting all the tax benefits of real estate ownership. Let me give you a real example. Put down about $12,000 with an FA loan. She lives in one unit. The other 2 units rent for $1,500 each. That's $3,000 a month in rental income. Her total mortgage payment, including insurance and property tax, is around $2,400. So she's living for free, pocketing $600 a month in cash flow and building equity every single month. In 3 years, that property has appreciated about $60,000. Her net worth increased by $60,000, plus she saved about $36,000 in rent she would have paid. Plus, she collected about $20,000 in cash flow. That's over $100,000 in wealth created in 3 years from a $12,000 investment. That's the power of house hacking. The downside? You have to live in the property. You're dealing with tenants who are basically your neighbors, and you need to be handy or willing to manage repairs and maintenance. This strategy is perfect if you're young and flexible, if you're comfortable living in a multi-unit property, if you want to build equity fast while keeping your housing costs low, or if you're willing to be a landlord. Strategy number 3 is real estate crowdfunding. This is the new kid on the block, and it's opened up opportunities that didn't exist 10 years ago. Real estate crowdfunding platforms pool money from multiple investors to buy properties or fund real estate projects. You might be investing alongside hundreds of other people in a single apartment building or a commercial development. Platforms like Fundrise, Realty Mogul, and CrowdStreet let you invest in specific deals with minimums usually starting around $500 to $5,000. Depending on the platform. Some platforms are open to anyone. Others require you to be an accredited investor, which means you need a certain income or net worth. The advantage here is you can invest in larger, institutional quality deals that you'd never have access to on your own. You're getting professional management, and you can diversify across multiple properties and markets even with a small amount of capital. I've been using Fundrise for about 3 years. I started with $5,000 just to test it out. They automatically diversify your money across a portfolio of real estate projects. My returns have averaged around 9 to 10% annually, which is solid. I get quarterly dividends, and I can see exactly what properties my money is invested in. The downside is liquidity. Your money is typically locked up for several years. These aren't investments you can easily sell if you need cash quickly, and you're trusting the platform and their management team. You don't have control. This strategy is perfect if you want real estate exposure without the work of being a landlord, if you're comfortable locking your money up for a few years, if you want to diversify across multiple properties, or if you don't have enough capital for a down payment on actual property yet. Strategy number 4 is wholesaling and bird dogging. This is the most hands-on strategy, but it also requires the least capital upfront. Wholesaling means you find properties that are being sold below market value. Usually distressed properties or motivated sellers. You get the property under contract, and then you assign that contract to an actual investor for a fee. You're essentially a middleman connecting sellers with buyers. You don't actually buy the property yourself. You don't need a huge down payment. You just need to find the deal, get it under contract, and find a buyer. Your profit is the assignment fee, which can range anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 or more depending on the deal. Bird dogging is even simpler. You just find potential deals and pass them along to investors for a finder's fee. You're not even getting the property under contract yourself. You're just the scout. I know a guy who started wholesaling with basically no money. He spent his time driving around neighborhoods, looking for distressed properties, reaching out to owners, and building relationships with local investors. His first deal, he made $7,000. That was his capital to start doing more deals. The downside? This is work. You're not passively investing, you're running a business. You need to learn how to find deals, how to analyze properties, how to negotiate, and how to build a buyer's list. And there's no guaranteed income. Some months you might do several deals. Some months you might do 0. This strategy is perfect if you're husky and willing to put in the work. If you don't have capital but you have time and energy, if you want to learn the real estate business from the ground up, or if you're looking to make money that you can then use to invest in properties yourself. Now, let me talk about which strategy I'd recommend based on where you're at. If you're completely new to real estate and just want exposure without complexity, start with REITs. Open a brokerage account, buy a REIT index fund, and learn how real estate investing works while your money grows. If you're ready to buy your first home anyway, seriously consider house hacking. It's the fastest way to build equity when you're starting out, and it dramatically reduces your living expenses. If you have capital but don't want to be a landlord, real estate crowdfunding is a solid middle ground. You get better returns than REITs typically, but you're still passive. And if you're young, hungry, and willing to hustle but don't have much capital, wholesaling can be a path to generate the money you need to eventually buy properties yourself. You don't need to do all of these. Pick one that fits your situation and go deep. Master it, build momentum, then you can add other strategies later. Real estate isn't just for rich people, it's for strategic people. People who are willing to start small, learn the game, and build over time. I started with REITs 5 years ago because I didn't have enough for a down payment and I didn't know anything about real estate. That gave me exposure and education. Then I house hacked my first property 2 years ago. Now I'm exploring crowdfunding for geographic diversification. The point is, I started. I didn't wait until I had $100,000 or until I knew everything. I started with what I had and I learned as I went. You can do the same thing. $10,000 is enough to begin building real estate wealth. You just need to pick your strategy and take action. If you found this valuable, smash that like button. Subscribe for more wealth building strategies every Friday, and drop a comment telling me which strategy you're most interested in, or if you're already